Golden State Warriors fresh off their fourth title in 8 seasons and now have to go to work for the 22-23 season. This team is spending unbelievable amounts of money on salary. We were just talking about it as that piece ran. Even without signing Kevon Looney and Gary Payton II and whoever else they might sign, Ryan, they're looking at a bill somewhere in the $325 to $350 million range for payroll.
When you look at their payroll and luxury tax combined, the numbers are astronomical. They are the only repeater tax team in the league. Their ownership, led by Joe Lacob and Peter Guber, has shown a willingness to pay that amount of money. I mean, think of the salaries they have tied up just in their top 4 players, Steph, Clay, Draymond, and now Andrew Wiggins. You mentioned the performances this year from Kevon Looney and Gary Payton II. Those guys will get raises. We'll see what happens with Otto Porter. But this is a historic team, not only in terms of 4 championships and 6 trips to the finals in 8 years. They're historic in terms of how much revenue they bring in. They're a money-making machine out there with the new arena in San Francisco, and they're also a money-spending machine. And frankly, it's gotten to the point where other teams I talk to around the league in mid and small markets have some concerns. How do we compete with these guys? And a lot of it's, because of how well run they are, but also part of it is financial. They have resources that nobody really has, other than maybe the LA Clippers are the only team I could see spending to that level.
Well, and you look at the Knicks, big market team worth a ton of money. You look at the Lakers, big market team worth a ton of money. They have a massive local TV deal. Those teams can compete a little bit, certainly financially, with the Golden State Warriors. Very few others in that category.
Well, it doesn't hurt being near Silicon Valley with all those billionaires and, people willing and able to pay top dollar for courtside seats. Buy all the merchandise. Look, it's a lot of money, obviously, for your franchise. But, again, as Ryan said, you're making revenue, number one. The value of the franchise is soaring, number two. You can cash out anytime you want to, by the way. And, look, if you have a chance to do something special and have this championship run, I think 29 other owners in the NBA would do exactly the same thing.
Sure.
Spend the money. Your franchise valuation is going to go up. You're going to win championships. And by the way, when you win championships, that adds to the legacy of your franchise. Look at, for example, the Dallas Cowboys or New England Patriots, who have so many Super Bowls and everything. So you're buying that if you're a fan, if you're a consumer.
Legacy.
Your legacy,
yeah.
Absolutely. If you're the Golden State Warriors, keep sending that money out there as long as Steph is healthy and Draymond and Clay. And if you can add those pieces, again, as they did during your championship run, they'd find out, okay, who got paid and who just wants to win a championship. Otto Porter Jr., he had the big contract already, so maybe he'll sign with us and we'll use him off the bench. And it's worked out well when they find those type of players. Privately
finance their arena, which means not only do they get all the revenue from game day, it means they get all the revenue from concerts and what other events might be in the Chase Center. I know it's different books, different accounting, but it all factors in for ownership. In terms of basketball, I didn't think the Warriors were good enough, to be honest, to come out of the West during most of the season. The Suns certainly looked like they were going to steamroll their way to the finals. They did it. They've already got that 4th title, and now they come into a season where they should be better, as Steve Kerr pointed out, I think a week ago or so, because Klay Thompson be further removed from the injury. He, Draymond Green, and Steph Curry get to play together again for extended time. They hardly spent any time on the floor together before the playoffs.
Yeah, for all those very reasons you mentioned. And I think the biggest is Klay Thompson, being that much further removed from 2 serious injuries and having the confidence knowing that you're coming back off a championship season, you're feeling good about yourself. He's going to play a lot better, I think. And again, Jordan Poole, he's a discovery. He hasn't reached his ceiling yet either.
Right.
So now you're talking about, Kuminga, You're talking about players who really didn't get that much time. It's a championship team. You're not going to get that much playing time.
Yep.
All of a sudden, Moses Moody, all of a sudden, now maybe you get a little bit more time. You fight extra hard in training camp to earn your minutes. And all those young players have some upside. It's just like the Warriors did. I mean, this is a couple years ago when they had those high draft picks. They said, no, we're not going to trade these picks for like a Bradley Beal or some of the older veterans where maybe we might win now. We want to replenish our team with youth and upside. So now we have balance. We have Clay, Steph, and Draymond, but also we have these, this young core rising also. They can learn from these veterans, all right? They've been through the wars and everything like that, and all of a sudden we have them ready to go to be in that rotation, give our rotation some athletic ability, some speed, some youth, and they're learning from the best.
By the way, presumably James Weissman will be part of the rotation at some point next season as well. It's amazing how well they've walked that tightrope between developing these players and keeps under 7 rebounds per game. Not to pile on Bagley, but compare this extension with the ones that Trae Young and Luka Doncic got, both north of $200 million. And it looks like the Sacramento Kings, no, this is not a surprise headline, didn't make the right call, perhaps, with that pick a few years ago. What does this mean for Bagley in terms of moving forward with the Pistons, and what kind of value is this?
Well, it's a bet on the future of Marvin Bagley. He was the number 2 pick in the draft 4 years ago. Obviously, the beginning part of his career has not gone according to plan. But Detroit, as much as any team in the league, is taking a long horizon in terms of their development plan. And I think that direction was solidified on draft night. They got Jaden Ivey, who I think has a chance to be the best perimeter player, maybe the best player, period, to come out of this year's draft class. And they also made the trade with the Knicks, with Jalen Duren coming in. So they're in no hurry. And I think for the franchise, their bet is that this is probably an overpay, actually, in terms of Bagley's production over the first 4 years of his career. But this is still a young, talented guy. They have him on a 3-year deal, and they have a lot of money and a lot of flexibility going forward. So I think they're betting on Bagley continuing to improve. He did play better in Detroit than he had in Sacramento, and this is a team that'll be among the worst in the league next year, but has a lot of young talent and a lot of flexibility going forward.
And as we've seen a million times before, sometimes fit is as important as talent in the NBA.
Well, fit and opportunity.
Yeah.
And I think we don't know about the fit yet, but he'll have the opportunity. It's not like he's going to have to beat out an all-star or an all-NBA player to get some playing time. I would like to think that at this point in that young man's life, that he's hungry. He's hungry. He feels a little bit bad about the way things turned out in Sacramento. I'm sure he reads social media, people talking about him and all that stuff. That's got to get to you. If you're a professional and you're a competitor, that's got to get to you. And then you saw how players taken right around where you were taking got the bag, big bag, and you didn't. You got a small bag. Well, to me, that's a big bag.
To most humans, that's a large bag. Yeah.
But that's got to eat you up inside. And if that doesn't light a fire under Marvin Bagley, then nothing will. You have the opportunity now to prove yourself. The Pistons are giving you that opportunity to go in there, fight for minutes, fight for a starting job, fight for your reputation back. He's got to do that now. If it doesn't happen this year or even next year, it's never going to happen.
Right. All right, on the subject of big men, JaVale McGee, the well-traveled center, has a new home, signing with the Dallas Mavericks, or agreeing to a deal with the Dallas Mavericks. Chris Haynes doing reporting for us there. McGee has won championships, of course, with Golden State and was seen poised to reach the finals with the Phoenix Suns before that collapsed, ironically enough, against the Dallas Mavericks.
Yeah, I thought he played well for Phoenix. I think that's a good, he's a good veteran player, a good return for Phoenix. Doesn't cost a lot of money. You don't have to worry about backup. Well, we think a backup center. I don't know. We'll see how things turn out with DeAndre Ayton. Maybe he's getting more minutes, but ideally, I think in that second team position for him at this stage of his career is a great situation with JaVale and a great situation for Phoenix.
On a permanent basis, and given his age, I thought this might have been one of top 2 seasons, maybe 3 seasons ever for JaVale McGee last year with Phoenix. He was great for them.
He had a very good year. The Suns won 64 games, the best record in the league. DeAndre Ayton was the starter, but when McGee was in the game, he really produced for the Suns per minute, as you referenced, and the team was very good. And this is why being an executive is so hard, guys, this time of year, because you have all these balls that you're trying to juggle and not let hit the ground. Dallas, for example, looked like they lost Jalen Brunson to the New York Knicks earlier tonight. They pivoted quickly to McGee. Obviously, different players at different positions. But for Phoenix, it seems like they're big game hunting going after Kevin Durant. JaVale McGee wanted a multi-year deal. We'll see from Chris Haynes if he got a multi-year deal. My expectation is that he did from Dallas. And if the Suns weren't willing to give him that, McGee has to do what's best for him. He's unrestricted. He took the money. And then if you're the Suns, you don't want to do anything that would take you out of position to get Kevin Durant or go big game hunting. So, you know, it's why it's so hard to piece it together year after year. And we see the championship caliber teams, the contenders, get raided when some of their role players play well. They get more money, more years elsewhere, and then you have to try to replenish. But as we've seen here, just an hour and 45 minutes into free agency, the market moves quickly, especially for productive veteran players who are unrestricted and are willing to sign relatively quickly out of the gate.
Mavericks are a surprise conference finalist to most of us, I would say, last season. Already kind of a busy offseason with the Christian Wood deal, bringing him in from Houston, losing Jalen Brunson, and now bringing in JaVale McGee.